What We Like. We're your hosts, Cindy and Sonia.
Join us each week as we discuss the world of adulthood with some ratchet recaps and fun sessions.
Could be petty because I have a petty spirit. So if my petty spirit is live and well.
And actually, it should be called associates because these are not friends.
Because I feel like it's my page.
Right.
And I should be able to post what I want to post.
I live my life unapologetically. I do. Hey, Cindy.
Hey, Sonia.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am really good and really excited to have a few days off.
I know what you mean. I don't go back to work until January 3rd.
Okay, so you should be a little bit more excited than me because I go back on Wednesday.
I am super excited, but I'm already thinking, wow, it's already Sunday. Like, slow down a bit.
Oh, I know. I was telling somebody that when I left, because I left at about 12, I think, on Friday, and they were like, okay, we have a super long weekend. I'm like, yeah, but it's going to go by really fast.
Right. It really does. Like, I wanted to slow down a little bit because it's going by really fast. And I want to just relax a few days, then I want to take a few days and get out. And then, you
Yeah.
know, it's cold here, and then it's raining. So, um, yeah, I'm
So you have relaxing scheduled for your week.
plenty of relaxing.
I feel you. And speaking on some relaxing and the reason why we have some time off. Were you for vacation, me, our Christmas holidays? Do you have anything special planned for Christmas?
No, I really don't. Like, we'll probably go to vegan space, you know, family on Christmas Day, maybe. And after that, no real plans. You know, no real big plans. What about you?
Same here. We don't have really anything planned. But because I have the small nieces, I will have to make a Christmas gift run to
Right.
to the folks and bless everybody with their gifts for Christmas. But that's about it. And you know, another thing, speaking on Christmas, is that I think that I did a better job this year with the gifts because I'm a giver. And in years past, I have gone overboard, and I can admit it, I have gone overboard. But I tried to really scale that down this year because it dilutes the meaning of Christmas. And I'm
Right.
trying to get the girls back into that. Well, that's not really what it's about. You have a whole lot of toys. If you want some new ones, we need to box them up and give away. And, you know, just saying it's not all about the gifts. In which I had to tell myself that too because I just want to give and I want to see the look on your face when you open it and be like, oh, I love it.
Right, right. But you know, we get into that, but you know, you do have to remember what you're teaching them. You know,
Right.
you don't want to get them in the habit of thinking that you know they should get a bunch of stuff and you know get into always wanting. I used to try to make my kids if they got a toy, they'd have to give away
Give a
a
toy. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That is important. So I think that a lot of times it's caught up in the hoopla of the gift giving and it takes the shine off of just being together with family and friends and especially for the little ones to make sure that they really know the true meaning of the holiday and not think it's just that day in the year where they're getting gifts Because
Right.
let's be clear, they get gifts throughout the year.
Right, right. And, there was a point where I just stopped giving them Christmas gifts at all. And, tried to focus more on being with family and making it about family and friends and more so than
Right.
getting,
Yeah.
giving, you know. But I don't know how well that came over because, grandparents and aunts and everybody else gives stuff. So it was just pretty much lost, on what I was trying to do. But at least I tried to, you know, make them
Yes, and I
understand.
think so. But it's difficult with all of the commercialized things that we have going on. It's difficult for them to get the true meaning because of everything that's being shown on TV and on social media. It takes over.
Right, right.
We're gonna get through it. I'm happy for the days off, and so I'm not gonna complain in respect to that. But anyway, we were talking earlier about the wrestling match with the guy, and now I don't remember
Yes.
where this happened. Do you know where that was?
I don't. I was trying to see earlier, like what state it was in or whatever. Um, but I don't. But it was really heartbreaking. I mean, it's just that was really hard to watch because I can only imagine how he was feeling as a person just standing there letting somebody cut your hair
Yeah,
and that's not what you
let's give a little
want.
background on that for anybody that didn't see it. But it's all over social media, so I'm pretty sure we all did.
Yeah. So it's a young boy, a young man, black guy, who was doing a wrestling match, and he was told by the referee. Backstory on the referee: he had called someone a nigger before, so there's that. He told him that he would have to cut his hair or forfeit the match. And so they came and cut his hair right there during the match. They cut his hair. And I just felt like, where were, I mean, maybe his parents weren't there, where was some parents or,
The
where
coaching
was
staff or some
the
official.
coaches or even right down to his teammates? Because that to me, a coach teaches a team that you stick together, you know. And instead of his teammates even saying something, or it looks like they were encouraging it. Like one teammate came and was like, kind of like telling him it was going to be okay. But how would you feel if someone said they had to cut your hair? Like, let's take a second and talk about this. Like, what's going on? This is not. It's not gonna. And it's not even like he had a high top fade or something. He has locks. It takes years to get your locks the way you want them to. And for somebody to just make the decision to cut your hair like that at a whim, and it's not your decision, is that was just really hard to watch.
Also, I think that for people that does not have the history or the background to know what it takes to get locks and what it takes to get them to that point, really can't appreciate what that meant to him. And I know that you can
Right.
because you've gone lots before, but I think definitely that coach, and I also think some of the teammates probably didn't think that it was a big deal because they don't know the history of what goes into that. But then I also wonder for him to, well, obviously the match meant a lot to him. But then part of me wondered, was it his real hair? Because to make that split decision to say, yeah, cut it off, I mean, I just couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah, and what I was thinking probably happened is he didn't want to let the team down because, if he had forfeit his match, I'm sure that I don't know much about wrestling and how it's, sport or whatever, but I'm sure that would have affected the team. So that's why you see one of the guys coming over, kind of encouraging him, it'll be okay, because they didn't want it to affect them. And
Yeah.
I think it's hard to understand how that would feel if you don't have locks because I I would say I can't imagine a coach telling a young white guy who has long hair that hey, you're gonna have to cut your
Right.
hair. Even though to me it feels like that would be different because his hair could go back in 3 months or shorter.
Right. Right.
But to grow your locks back and to get them the way that you want them takes years even. And to put him on the spot like that, and he's so young, that was high school. That was just wrong. I think they should have called time or something. And again, I don't know how these matches work, but something that serious, maybe call his parents and explain to his parents or something. Or, I mean, it just seems like it was handled all
Yeah,
wrong.
and I think what should have happened is it should have been a collective issue. I think the coaching staff should have intervened and said, "No, we're not going to do this," because obviously he's on the team, and unless this is not his hair, he had these the entire season. So I feel like the coaching staff should have intervened and said, "Hey, it hasn't been a problem up to this point. Why is it a problem now? And no, we're not going to do this. We're going to take this, you know, to a higher source. We're going to talk to your officials or your higher up or your managers. And until then, we will not be completing the match collectively so that he would have
Right,
not been singled
right.
out as the one that's doing it. I think as the adult in the situation, the coaching staff should have came in and stopped the whole thing until they could have gotten an official decision on this one ref who felt like he had the authority to make such a decision. And I did look it up. It was in New Jersey,
Okay.
and I saw it was posted this morning or maybe yesterday that the New Jersey Attorney General is investigating the match, and the ref has been banned from officiating district matches. So my issue with this is this
Okay.
person made a child cut his hair. Also, this person had been cited, for racist activity or comments before. Why is he only banned from district meets? So does that mean that he's
Right. He
still,
should be banned,
yeah, is he
period.
still able to referee on a local level? I don't think that's right.
Yeah, right. He should be banned, period. Because, I mean, imagine for me, and I'm sure people who had locks way longer than I did could speak to it. There's like having locks is a whole culture, and there's all kinds of things that come along with having locks. So okay, just side note, Puppy in the building. So if you hear him, that he's just freaking out a little bit.
I hear him.
We'll let him do what he does.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I just think that that he should be gone. Like he shouldn't be able to have any job that affects children in that way because that could be an emotional thing for this young man. Especially if he put, I'm pretty sure that was his real
Yeah.
hair just because the way of his locks looked, they weren't uniform. When people have their wear locks like that and they're not uniform and they're just kind of growing. They call it free form. And you know, that he probably, I'm pretty sure he didn't wake up that morning saying, you know what, I'm just gonna cut my locks.
Right.
You know. So I just would like to know what was in the coach's head. Like, I agree with you. Why didn't he stand up for his? That's what a coach is supposed to be.
Right.
Be there to support them. Why didn't he stand up and say, hey, you know, we, like you said, we're gonna just put this on hold, or we'll even take a L on this one, but we need some more, you know, clarification on why he has to cut his hair.
Right. I agree. I agree. And that was something that actually stood out for us this week, and we wanted to touch on that. And obviously, we're not the only one because it's gone widespread on social media, and I'm sure there'll be some more information on the outcome of the investigation with the ref. But me personally, I would like to see this ref banned from refereeing matches, all matches, and not just the district matches.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, the lady who actually cut his hair, I couldn't do that. I don't care if the ref came and told me that. I just could not cut, because I would be thinking about my child or my nieces or nephews if somebody asked them to cut their hair. You know what? I just couldn't do that.
Yeah, but then
So, yeah,
again,
you would have to get
you
somebody
know,
else.
looking at the culture, I don't think that they understand what comes with that or what that entails. Because if they're cutting their hair, it can grow back maybe in a month. And
Right.
and even for me, you know, I don't know how that feels or what comes with it because I've never had locks. And so
Right.
if
I
I can't really conceive, you know, completely, you know, what it entails, I know they can't. And she probably felt like she was just cutting up, you know, like she would cut her ponytail. Like she probably didn't know or realize what comes with that. And that's why I think that, and it was hard for him, you know, as a student,
Right.
as a child, and probably as the only one that has that connection to be able, he probably didn't even know how to communicate that to him, what it felt like.
Right.
And it had probably gotten to be such a big thing surrounding the match, and everything was probably on hold, and they probably, you know, paused the whole thing. And he could have been like, okay, I don't want the spotlight on me, just cut it. You know, we don't know what he was going through at the time. And then for them to just pull out scissors and cut his hair, I don't know. Parents may have a lawsuit on their hands.
I would think so, because one last thing for me, it wasn't even about the locks. The locks were secondary for me. The fact that it was so easy for them to walk up and cut this young man's hair was what was the problem for me. It wasn't. The locks were secondary for me. I don't want you cutting my child's high top fade unless we have a discussion that this is what needs to be done, because he has such a racist background. I want to be sure that you cutting his hair. His hair needs to be cut for the right reason, not just because you don't see him as a person and you want his hair cut. And then second off, you know, what, not only what's behind cutting, you know, his hair, but what's your motive? Like, he's been on the team and he had locks, so his hair has definitely been like this all season. So, and probably this is not his first year. So his hair has been like this for a while. Why now? You know, why was it, you know, needed? And his locks weren't that long. I read somewhere in the comments that people were putting, well, they can't extend past your ear or whatever.
Well,
So
I read that they were
his locks
pulled back,
weren't super long.
and it didn't hinder the match itself. It didn't give him any advantage. They were pulled back. They were it wasn't an issue. And not that I
Why
don't
can you
follow matches or wrestling or whatever they call it, but I've seen where people have in matches and have hair pulled back in a ponytail.
Right, I've seen it in a man bun, where they put it up on top of their head or whatever, or his didn't look that long though. If you notice when she grabs them from the back and cuts them, they're not super long. Like you would think that they were, chin length or down to his shoulder. So yeah, I would love to hear more about, and I hope that this referee doesn't have anything to do with children for a very long time.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And we will be watching this one to see the outcome and also to see if the parents say something, because I haven't heard of any comments from the parents.
Right, because you definitely, if it was my child, you would definitely hear some comments. It might even be her friends had to get together and get her bail money because my baby's hair.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. And with that, let's go into today's topic. I got this from another podcast that I listened to. They did a short conversation on setting boundaries. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's touch on that for a couple reasons. I thought it's something that's important that we are faced with, and some of us are really good at setting boundaries and some not so, but also that it would be a good topic to go into the new year with if it's something that we need to work on in setting those boundaries. Because I think that setting boundaries is very important. Very important. And it's something that I had to learn to do. I had to get comfortable with. And my issue was definitely in setting boundaries with the family. The family. Well, that was a difficult one for me. Now, I guess first of all, do you set boundaries? And how important do you think setting boundaries is?
You know what? I just was thinking about it when you said that. And I set boundaries, but with my family, I think I'm really lax. Like I don't really have a lot of boundaries with them. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't think it's important. That's probably something I need to work on. And I would even venture to say they probably think they need to set some boundaries for me as well. But I don't. I don't have. I'm working on that. I'm doing better with setting boundaries. I think the where I do the best at setting boundaries is work.
Yes, I don't have a problem with setting boundaries at work.
Yeah, I have clear cut boundaries at work. I don't cross them. They're set in stone, and it is what it is for me. That's just what it is. But I set them, and there's no crossing, nothing.
I feel the same way. When it comes to work, I don't have that issue. I set boundaries. I come here to work. I don't want you interfering or getting in my personal life outside of work. Now, if I organically, have a connection with you and we form a relationship outside of work, that's different. But generally speaking, at work, I come to work and I have, we talk and we communicate, and it's usually about work. Sometimes we'll talk about other things, but I'm still in work mode the entire time. And when I leave, I leave. I don't bring personal to work. and I don't take
Right.
work home, well, sometimes I do, but it's not something that I do on a regular basis. But I don't
Right.
find it difficult in setting the boundaries at work. Now, I do.
Right.
My hardest time is definitely with the family. I have a hard time setting the boundaries with the family, and sometimes, in my experience, because I don't or haven't in the past set those boundaries with the family, it can interfere with the personal relationship of you and your partner. So that's something that I've had to deal with. Like my folks will call me, although they know what time I work. They know my work schedule. I'll get phone calls 11 a.m. I'll get phone calls at 1:30, p.m. Like, okay, I'm at work.
Yep.
And I'm
Yeah.
answering the phone because I'm like, something could be wrong. And then sometimes
Yeah.
I'll get, oh, you know what I just saw? And I'm like, okay, but I'm at work.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, I
because
get that.
I have not set those boundaries of saying, hey, unless it's an emergency, it needs to wait until I get off. But they're
Yeah.
used to me taking that moment to talk to them, no matter what time of day it is.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that I can work on. I probably should work on going into the new year. Now with
Right.
friends, okay, I don't think that I really set strong boundaries with my
Right.
friends, but on the same token, I don't think I have to because your friends, your good true friends, they have a certain level of respect for you, for your time, and for your relationships. So, in my
Right.
experience, my true friends don't really cross over those lines because it's just a level of respect. And also, they're kind of in the same place that I'm in. And they know that, okay, there are times that you have to spend with Boo, and there are times that you have to do the family thing, and then we're going to have our friend time. So that's not as I think about it, no, I don't really set clear boundaries with my friends, but I've never felt like I needed to.
Right. I think with friends, especially if you kind of, function the same, then, oh, okay, this is her time with Boo. And usually, if we're pretty close, then, like I'll shoot you a message and say, hey, me and Vegan may going to the movies. Not that I'm checking in, just because we might be talking or something, and I'll say, yeah, me and Vegan may going to the movies. Okay, then you don't call during that time.
Right.
But if you say, me and Mister are hanging out this weekend, then of course I'm not going to call you. But if I have something, crazy to say or whatever, I'll text you, and you read it when you read it.
Right. Right.
That's the beauty of texting. I think is, if I need to say something funny or something, I'll send it to you. You read it when you read it. There's no expectations of
Yeah.
responding right away. Or
We have to send it right there sometimes because if we don't, we'll forget. And it was like, okay,
Exactly.
I know you're busy right now, but I need to send you this because it's really, really funny. And if I don't, I'll forget about it.
Right, but I think it's an unspoken rule that, okay, I'm not expecting you to respond right now. I just had to send it because I had to send it. Like I just had to send it because like you said, I'll forget. It was really funny.
Yes.
So I think with your friends, you don't necessarily have to set boundaries with your good friends
Right.
because it's unspoken. Like I would give you the same respect that I would want you to give to me.
Yeah.
So, so with friends, I think I'm good. With family, my daughters do me the same way that you were just saying. My daughters will call me during the day, and then they call me and they say, "What you doing?" at like 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday. You know, it's been the same for several years. I've been doing the same thing at 11:30 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Right.
Like I'm working, but they, it's just, like you said, because I answer, because I will talk or whatever.
Mhm.
And so it's to the point where sometimes now, for me, if they don't call every now and then, I'm like, uh-oh,
What's wrong?
now what's going on?
Then you'll call.
Right. What's,
Yeah.
right. And then I'll call during the day. So we don't have boundaries, but I don't know because I'm so involved in their lives.
Yes.
I don't know that I want to. I want to set boundaries because I'm very involved in their, their lives.
I'm very
So,
involved in my folks' lives, but I'm opposite. I want to set some boundaries because I don't want to be as involved as I am. It's just too much. Like I am like so involved. With everything they do. It's almost like every step they make, every decision they make, it's like I'm getting a call. Like my dad on Friday was shopping, and he was he was buying my mom a dress. I'm getting pictures
uh-huh.
of the dress, of two dresses that he's trying to decide between. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And then he texted and said, "Did you get the picture?"
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like,
I
from the very small thing to, the important things that I need to know and everything in between. Like I get to the point. So, and it's my fault because I have allowed myself to be pulled into the mundane everyday task. And a
right.
lot of times when you either have accepted that role or put yourself in that role, once you're there, you're there. And it's a
Oh
little
yeah.
difficult getting out of.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely. I don't know if I put myself in or I was nominated and got accepted, but I am definitely the go-to person.
Uh-huh.
My um, middle child calls me for everything. I left chicken out in the refrigerator for 2 days. Is it still good? Or, just all kinds of even little stuff, all the way up to big stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess now, because I have, been in that role for a while, I probably expect it as much as they do it.
Oh, I agree.
I just,
I agree.
I'm just there.
Yeah, I do
And
too.
if I don't hear from them, I'm like, okay, what happened? What's going on with her? She
Yeah.
hadn't called me, or, my youngest, we'll call her 21. 21 doesn't really want, because she's going through the I'm grown, I'm finding my own way kind of thing. And so she doesn't necessarily want me involved as much. Um, so she'll call and then say stuff on the sly, like, "What would you do if?" Or, "Oh, well, let me just ask you," because she still wants to, do her own thing,
Right.
but still want approval that she's doing
The right
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
I agree. I think a lot of things I have put myself in, and that's just what it is. That's just how it is. But at the same time, because I think we've been doing it for so long, a lot of it is super easy. Like the chicken in the sink question, or what about this dress, or I forgot to do something,
Yeah.
or like on Thursday, my dad called, "Oh, can you order me this DVD?" And I'm like, who
Yeah.
still watches DVDs? Like, can't
Right.
just stream it? So a lot of the stuff that they're asking is stuff that now we can just do. without even thinking about it. He wanted the DVD.
Oh, absolutely.
I jumped on Amazon. I looked up the DVD. I ordered it. It was done in 5 minutes. So a lot of the stuff, I think that we just, because we're in that position, we just do it or answer that question or respond to that text or whatever the case is and not even think about it. And I
Right.
was, and that was kind of my moment, because before I heard this clip on this podcast, I didn't really think about it. But when they
Right.
said it, they were coming from the aspect of it's really important to set boundaries. And not only for them, but also for your own peace of mind, or for your own, uh, your life, your personal life. It's just good to have those boundaries set. And I was like,
Right.
yeah, I can see that. But it's really hard to exit out of that situation once you've been put in it.
Right. And I think, for me, um, I think I'm a little in the opposite of setting boundaries, just because this is who I've been for so long,
Right.
until I don't know any other way to be, so I expect them to come to me. So almost sometimes secretly, and I don't want them to know, but I'm sure they're going to listen and hear. But I feel like, if they make a decision, or they talk about something and I hear about it after the fact, I'm like, oh, well, they didn't even call me and ask me about
Yeah.
that. Or, nobody said anything to me. Or, oh, the two sisters called each other and talked, and nobody included me.
Yeah.
And for a second or two, I feel like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting X'd out, instead of thinking to myself, whew, I didn't have to
Yeah.
get involved with
Be
that,
happy. I didn't have to man that situation. I didn't have to referee. I didn't have to give money, or I didn't have to I didn't have to settle an
Right,
argument. And but when we've been doing it, we kind of expect it. And so when they don't include us, it's kind of, okay. Well, one of them
right,
is she mad with me? Is she angry with me? Did I do something? Did I
right.
say something?
Exactly. I so feel that way. Like, if they talk amongst themselves, or if they just make the decision on their own. Because normally with big decisions, I get a phone call like, "What
Right.
do you think? What would you do? Or what should I do? Or tell me what to do? Or whatever." And when they don't do that, I'm like, okay, well, did I do something wrong?
Yes.
I'm even to the point where I replay our last conversation or something, like, oh, well, maybe she took that wrong, or,
Right.
just because I've been this person,
It's
the
like
go to
we have to
person
understand
for so
we
long.
can't have it both ways. We can't just
Right,
want to be involved when we want to be involved and not. If we're that, and I've kind of come to the understanding that I'm that person in my family, deal with it.
exactly,
Yeah. So on
exactly.
the other side of it, we did the friends we don't have a problem with, because those are clear. And friends, good friends, respect each other's boundaries. And we don't have that issue with coworkers or bosses. Like, we're clear on that, so that's a good thing. And I don't know, we kind of looked at it as, okay, there are no boundaries with family. And I think I went from I need to set some to it is what it is. You have to accept that. So on the
Right.
last one is with our partners. Are there boundaries there, or should there be boundaries there?
Mm. I really don't. I think I, I don't know if there should be boundaries. I guess you should have some boundaries, but I don't know that I operate with boundaries there either. Like, I, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of hard to say. Like, do you have boundaries in a relationship?
Yeah, I think that that's lined up with the family. I think that sometimes you might think that, okay, there should be some boundaries here. but it's it's not. It's not.
Right.
And I think for me, it works kind of like the friendship boundaries. We know each other.
Right.
We've been around each other. I know for the most part what to expect from him. He knows what to expect from me. So it's kind of like that unspoken boundary thing. Like if I
Right.
need some space,
Yeah.
he'll give me some space. Well, he never really needs space because he's just the same all the time. I don't know how he does it, but he's the same all the time. But I
Right.
think for me, boundaries with a partner falls in line with boundaries with a friend. There's just a level of respect for one another and for what we have going on in our individual lives outside of the relationship. And we allow time for that and we respect that. It's kind of an
Right.
unspoken boundary.
Right. Now, if there's anybody who probably crosses boundaries in in this relationship, it's probably me when I looked at it. Um,
Really?
because I'm that person. I do know when he needs time, like you were saying, like when he needs time to himself or whatever. Occasionally, if I'm upset or whatever, I have a tendency to cross those boundaries a tad bit. Like just tap right at the line. You know when you were kids, when you were kids with your sibling and they would say don't touch me and you would put your finger like right close to them
Right.
but you weren't touching them. That's what I do with the boundaries every now and then. Like if there's an argument or something, instead of just walking away, giving him his space or whatever, I get right there. Like I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. That kind of,
Okay, you're gonna have to work on that one.
I am. That's on the list of things to work on in 2019. That's one of them. But
Yes.
I do recognize it, and because we've been together for a second now, he recognizes that that's what I'm doing. So
Okay.
now
And
it's
he can
almost
treat it as such.
right.
Okay.
He reacts to, just like you would with your sibling. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. He reacts the same way. So he knows
Okay.
that's what I'm doing. So now it doesn't irritate him as much. He just, goes
He
with the
knows
flow.
what he's dealing with.
Yeah. And now it almost turns into like a joke because he knows that I'm not gonna go away, and then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. So, but I'm working on that, learning how to, because when I want my space, I expect him to just go away,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm working on that. I'm working
Yeah,
on it. But
I
it's hard
agree.
in a relationship, to have boundaries, real boundaries. I guess it
Yeah.
comes just like with the family.
Yeah, I think
It is what it
I-
is.
Yeah, I think it definitely comes with the family, and it is what it is. But also, I think for me, my relationship, there's more of a respect of with the boundaries like I have with my friends. Like with my family, it's
Right.
just whatever. And the relationship is more
Right.
of the respect that I have, in my true
Right.
friendships. Which is good. I think that I came into this thinking, oh wow, this really resonates with me because I really need to set boundaries in my life. But after discussing it, I think that I have boundaries set where they should be set. And in
Right.
the other areas where they're not clear cut boundaries, it's okay because that's just where I am, where I put myself, where they have nominated me, and I have to play that role.
Right. And I really think that, especially with family, I think we all have certain roles in the family. Like you
Yeah.
know, and my role is go-to person. And for me, luckily, I have a job where I can take 5 or 10 minutes and talk to them on the phone about, no, you shouldn't eat that chicken because it's been out too long, or those two pimples on the baby are fine. He doesn't have, malaria or whatever. He's fine.
Yeah.
I can take those, few minutes, and I would even venture to say sometimes I like that. It almost makes me feel needed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do, and I granted, I complain about it sometimes, like, oh my gosh, everybody calls me for everything. But like we were just saying, if they didn't, or if they don't call me, then I'm like, oh, well, she must be mad, or oh, they don't need me anymore. So I think boundaries are good when when there's a need for them.
Right.
And fortunately for me, in most of my relationships, there's a respect, so I don't have to come out and say, okay, well, Sonia, here's the rules. Don't call me at this time. Don't call me that, because I think it's just unspoken with your friends that know you and care about you. So
Right. And I think that's the one that I have flown that has if that's present in my relationship, and that works. And I have adjusted, boundaries, and I have worked on the boundaries with my family. I'm still that go-to person that they call all the time, but if I need a moment or a day, I'll take that moment or that day, and then I'll come back and save the world for them.
right, right,
But I don't think that the boundaries are setting for them, that's not going to work, because I am that go-to person. I have been that go-to person. I don't see that changing, and that's just the role that I play in my family, and
right.
that's just how it is.
So just get with it. It's what it is.
Get absolutely right. Get with it. And now that we have realized what our boundaries are, and we don't have a lot of work to do on that, because I think we are where we're supposed to be, and it works for our individual situations.
Right.
So with that, we can go into this week's Ratchet Recap. Your favorite part.
Yes, yes. So,
And this
what we
week
talk
we're
about?
going to do the Housewives in Atlanta.
Okay. So, I'm trying to think. So, they went on the girls' trip because the guys couldn't go, right?
Yeah, I felt a little bad for Greg because he really wanted to go. But then I'm also thinking, okay, Greg, I'm going to need you to just simmer it down a little bit. Just, you don't have to be involved in everything. Just kind of deal with your health issues. 'Cause when they were leaving, he got up to the mic like he was getting ready to give a motivational speech.
Right. I'm like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Okay.
And I mean, he has seriously, issues with his health, which is very serious. But part of me
Right.
felt like, are you milking it a little bit for the camera? Or are you trying
Yeah.
to get sympathy? But I guess some men don't deal with sickness well, and
Right.
they want that attention.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit of that from him.
Yeah. I feel like he was just all in it. Like, he was just like, okay, it's okay, Greg. Like, you'll get to go another time. Like, it's okay. You will get to go. Maybe not this time, but you'll get to go next time. So, yeah. And then when they were on the bus and they were playing Truth or Dare, and they were asking the questions, something about calling your spouse and talk sexy or talk dirty or whatever. Poor little Eva. I'm like,
Eva probably knew what she could say and get away with her dude, because her dude is in politics, so she probably knew not
Right.
to really go too far and cross the line with him. I'm
Right.
thinking she should have probably not called and was like, nah, my man not with that. He's definitely not with that on the camera or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to tell you,
Yeah.
I probably rewinded that thing with Candy like 3 times. It was
I
so funny.
know.
Todd was like, oh, babe. He's like, you been drinking?
Right.
That was so funny to me. He was like, did you just say that in front of everybody?
Right. I was trying to think, how would that go if I had called Vegan Bae and was like saying like, how would that conversation go? I was like, yeah, that might not have been great for the camera.
No.
So I might would have.
Because the thing is, you never know what they're going to say. You never know what they're going to say.
Right.
I
right.
don't know if I
Oh.
would have been able to do that one.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Vegan Bae would have said something that I wouldn't want to be on camera. So.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you about on it was Cynthia. And when the show first came on, the man comes downstairs and it's Leon.
Yeah.
So, my question was, for you, how would that go over if your ex was in town? Would he be crashing at your place?
Now, you know what? I thought about that. Let's say Vegan Bae and I didn't live together. How would that work? Or if he wasn't in the picture, how would that work? And I probably wouldn't have a problem with him staying over. Because
Right. Now, I can see you not having a problem with him staying over. But let's remember that Cynthia is in a relationship.
right now that's
A fairly
where-
new relationship. So, with that being the case, with Vegan Bae being in the picture, would he be okay with X staying over?
No. And I wouldn't even present that. Like I wouldn't even ask that because to me, especially if he's not there, if he was here and all three of us are in the house together and me and him go to bed and Vegan Bae is and ex boo is in
Keep it right now.
right and ex boo is in the basement in a bedroom, that might be something different. But me and ex boo and then Vegan Bae is 10 states over, I wouldn't do that because I would feel some kind of way if the shoe was on the other foot. Like
Uh-huh.
I called to FaceTime him and his ex boo is coming down the stairs like, good morning. No, that definitely.
Yeah, I was wondering how you would feel about that because I know that you had said also, and Cynthia said, and I think you felt the same way. She said that for her, Leon, it's like a brother to her.
Uh-huh.
It's like family, but they didn't even go to the whole thing of how her dude would feel or feels about that, or it didn't come up. But when I saw that, I was like, really?
Yeah.
And their relationship is fairly new.
Right.
So I would think that would be a little bit odd. Maybe different if you've been together for a long time, but especially with them still being fairly new and her guy being in another state, I was like, oh, okay. But,
Yeah,
I guess it works for them.
I guess so, but that would be a lot for me to ask a partner in a new relationship. That would be a lot
Yeah.
for me to ask him to understand something like that. Because again, you remember I had like a rough road with Vegan Bae and ex boo and family, just because I was asking a lot in the very beginning for him to understand, especially when he had not experienced that before.
Right.
So it's
And I
that's a
think
lot
the
to ask.
key there was the newness of the relationship.
Right, Right.
Yeah.
I think you have to be with a person for a good little while, kind of get a feel of how the your partner and their ex, operate, and the family and extended family and all of that before you can put that on somebody. You all have to be
Right.
together for a while so that they can see that this is truly just a friendship, or we're just family now, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
Yeah.
because for Cynthia, her daughter is like, what, like 18 or something like that, 19 or something.
Yeah.
And this is her first year of college, or she's going to
Yeah.
college
Yeah.
or something. And so they've been in each other's lives for a good little while, So after that, when you break up, usually you just feel like that person is family. You don't have
Right.
any,
Right.
intimate thoughts about them. They're family. So
Yeah, and that's what she said. He's like a brother to her.
still would be weird.
So what? Yeah. What about Eva not inviting the ladies, and specifically Nene, because she asked Nene to speak at her wedding, to the bachelorette
Yeah,
party?
bachelorette. Yeah.
Party in Miami.
I thought that two things. At first, I was thinking, well, sometimes it's hard to mix your one group of friends with the other group of friends. And then I thought, well, no, because usually your friends are some aspect of who you are, you know. Um, so they all should be able to at least coexist, you know. And especially for a weekend, especially when it's going to be a bunch of people, so they don't have to just sit around with, it's not just your one college friend and then all your current friends. It's, you mingle everybody. Kind of like with my 50th birthday party, it was a bunch of friends from all different aspects of my life. Current friends, DMV friends, college friends, So I was like, yeah, I think she could have invited them. Like, especially if Mimi is supposed to be so important to you that you invite her to speak at your wedding. But
Yeah, part of me felt like Eva was going to turn up in Miami with her friends that are around her age, because
right,
she is younger than the other ladies, and I felt like she probably didn't want the old lady gang
right,
included, because Portia said that she was invited. And
right,
Portia is closer to Eva in age, so I think that maybe some of it was she felt like Portia is a fun girl and she likes a good time, and she would fit in with her group of friends that was going, and maybe she felt that Nene not so much.
right. And that's a good point. I can see that. I can see, Nene being a little older and probably wouldn't want to do some of the things that that they might have been doing, and it might not have been anything bad, just things that Nene probably wouldn't want to do. They probably
Yeah.
gonna be hanging out and drinking a lot.
And it probably would have gone over better if all of the ladies were invited.
Right,
And then that way, the ones that wanted to go and hang out in club could, and the ones that just kind of maybe wanted to shop or do dinner and drinks would do that, and you kind of get, everybody gets to do something.
right,
But also at the end of the day, it's her, bachelorette party. It's her day, her event. Invite who you want to invite.
and I think what happened to make it look so bad is she just didn't know how to respond. Like, then she just started kind of like
Yes.
lying about it, and oh,
Yes.
it was a surprise. Oh, it was this, it was that. Just say, hey, we were gonna be hanging out, and I just really didn't think that that was something that you would want to do. We were gonna,
Right.
be drinking a lot or whatever. And I know that's probably not your scene. That's why I didn't invite you.
Yeah.
But to say
Yeah,
I didn't
I
invite
agree.
you because you were busy, like let me be the one who,
Yeah.
you know,
Like, honey, you don't know my schedule.
right? Or I might have made time for you. Like
Yes.
might have said, oh, okay, well, this is Eva's bachelorette. Let me make time for her, or I'm good for that weekend. But I think it was all of her going back and forth. I don't know. And then she was looking caught or whatever. It's your day. This is your day. Do what you want to do. But you're right. I think she should have invited everybody and then let them decide if they're going to come. And then that, to me, the more people there, the more it's easier to do a lot of different things because some people could go, some people could stay, and then it's not just one person saying, oh, I really don't want to do that, and then they forced to do it, or they forced to stay back and look like, Debbie Downer because they didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
So I think that's the good thing about inviting several friends, but all of them not the same.
Yeah.
Just-
So, the other thing is, what was your take? And I don't remember her name. The drunk lady at couples night.
oh my gosh, what was going on with this chick? Like, was she just doing? Okay, first off, did I miss who she was? Like, who?
I miss
was
who she was, but it wasn't important enough for me to go back and look.
Yeah. And then, second off, she was going off because, was it Eva? She said knew her, but was acting like she didn't.
Yeah,
know
they
her.
have a mutual friend, but Eva was like, and she was like, "You don't remember me?" And Eva was like, "No, I never met you." And she was like, she was Miss CAU. All right.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, well, but does that mean, I'm supposed to know you? And she's like, we both have the mutual friend and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I mean, I know people that I have the same situation, and that doesn't mean I know everybody that they, friends with, or, yeah.
Honey, I
was
think I'm
like,
important too, but I'm sane enough to know everybody don't know me.
Right.
And her husband, he was looking embarrassed, and she was like, "What you looking irritated for? What's wrong with you? Because you showing your ass. That's what's wrong with me."
Right. Like, I mean, if I said to somebody, oh, well, Lakeisha, whatever, and she says, oh, and she still doesn't know me, okay, well,
Let
she
it
doesn't
go.
know me. Like,
Let it go.
it is what it is. Like,
Pretty much.
sometimes people don't remember you, and that's okay. I
It
mean,
really is. Like,
I
I'm
think
good
she
on
was-
her. I don't need a cameo appearance from her.
Right. I think she was just trying to get her 15 minutes of fame.
She really was, but
Yeah.
that's probably all she gonna get, and it wasn't quite 15. But so we can move right along from her.
Yeah.
And the last one that I have that I really wanted to touch on was who's becoming my favorite girl this season, Portia.
Yes.
Because I really think that she has evolved, and an eye opener for me was when she met with Candy, and they were talking, and she was basically like, "Well, Candy, you didn't like it when people were coming at Todd, so I kind of felt like you would understand where I am in my relationship." And then she
Right.
went on to say something about Candy was saying about the guy getting the tattoos, and Portia said, "Listen, if that was his jush, that was his jush. If getting tattoos was his thing, that was his thing. But all of that was before me. We're together now. Like, I'm not
Right.
worried about what he did before me." And then I was like, you know what? I didn't think about it like that, because for some people, getting a tattoo is nothing. Like, a person that gets
Right.
like, it's just nothing. It's just more ink on me. So I guess Portia's thing
Right.
was, okay, if that's what he did before me, that's what he did. I'm not really concerned about it. Now that we're together, if he's getting a tattoo on him, okay, then let me know. But all of that stuff before me,
Right.
no, I'm good on that because we all have, and he kind of said it too, like, I'm not going to get into that, but Candy had a past too before Todd. So you always have to be careful
Right.
about talking about other people and their relationships and what they're doing because we've all done something.
Right. Right. And I was thinking Portia. You know they voted Portia. TV Guide voted Portia the second most liked um, housewife out of the 46 housewives. They voted
Really?
her number two. She posted
Who was
something
number
on
one?
Instagram. I didn't see who was number one, but they posted it on Insta. She posted on Instagram. She thanked
I
TV
like that from
Guide.
her. I think that
Yeah.
she has really evolved. I think that, especially from the very beginning, I'm liking who she is becoming. I really am.
Yeah, she seems very mature. I think she's handling the whole Candy thing very maturely. Like,
I agree.
she's not going off or whatever. She's like, okay, I thought you would understand, and basically said, hey, he was somebody before he met me. That's
Right.
and this I just want to talk about from now on. And they're giving her a little on the bus. They were giving her the business about the time frame when how long they've been together. Look, if she happy and they've been together 2 days, that works for me. Like,
But
you know,
for me, I think there's always that overlap because I'm mature enough at this age to assume that if I meet somebody and we start hanging out, I'm not. I'm thinking that this person's probably hanging out with other people, as I might be hanging out with other people. So if she met Dennis, and she and Dennis went on a date and it went well, and they went on a second date and it went well, I wouldn't make a side eye at the fact that maybe she was going out with other people or he was going out with other people during that same time frame because people date, people go out, we're adults. So the
right,
thing is, I would expect there to be some overlap. So in the
right,
first month that Portia saw Dennis, if she was going out, especially if there was a party and she's a plus one or she brought a plus one, I don't think that there's anything weird or strange about that. And then if 6 months down the line, her and Dennis are together and people say, how long have you guys been together? And she says 6 months because she's known him for 6 months. And then somebody's saying, oh, but he was dating somebody else 5 months ago, or, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Again, if I'm with him for a year and you telling me he was with somebody last month, then you might be able to have a conversation with me. But all of this stuff that went on in the first month or two of us dating, no, I'm good
right,
on that.
right. I agree. I agree. Everybody has a past, and you're right. If we're dating, there's going to be some overlap. Not overlap in a bad way, like, ooh, he's dating me and we're exclusive. You're probably not exclusive in that first,
Yeah,
couple of weeks, a month or so.
yeah, I don't. I mean, it happens with some people, but for most people, I don't think they're going on the first date and walk away from that first date or second date and say we're exclusive. I think she was
Right.
probably seeing people, and they were talking about she was with somebody else at a party. She could have taken somebody because she didn't want to go by herself. Like Nene's
That
couples
happens.
night. Cynthia took a friend of hers because her dude wasn't in town. So uh, I think they were doing just too much. But I agree, like you said, I think that she's handling it very well.
I think so too. I think they're being very petty instead of being supportive and just saying, you know what, that's great. If you're happy, you seem really happy because she does. It seems like he's treating her very nice and very good. He's introduced her to his family. He's bringing her around his business. He's trying really hard to, from what they show, to be a very supportive boyfriend. So to me, if I'm a friend, I'm all for it. If you're happy, I'm happy. Like,
Yeah.
what?
And then
what,
also, she had to get Miss Shamari together. She had something to say about Portia not speaking to her or not coming around the table to speak to her at couples night. And I think where I am with that now is, okay, so Portia did walk in late. So one would say the onus was on her to speak. But sweetie, when she sat at the table, you could have spoken to her. It goes both ways. But she tried to shade a little bit when she said Darius instead of Dennis. And she was like, well, Darius, and then somebody said, no, his name is Dennis. And she said, oh, is his name Dennis? What did I say, Darius? And Portia said, oh, well, you may not know his name because I didn't introduce him to you. I was like, go ahead, Portia. You tell. And she was like, why? And she was like, because I really wasn't liking you too much.
Right. I don't know. I like Portia. I think she seems like a fun person, and as long as you don't cross her the wrong way, and I feel like she's one of those people, if y'all have a spat, she just need a little bit of time and she'll still come back and be, y'all could be cool as long as you don't, do too much. She just seems like a fun young person. Like she's just living her best life, and I'm happy for her.
I am too. I'm happy for Portia, happy for her relationship, happy for her pregnancy, and I hope all goes well with her.
Same here. I think she seemed like she would be a fun person. Even though she probably has a nice bank account or whatever, she got a boo that has a nice bank account. She seemed like somebody that you could just hang out with,
and
come
have
over
a
her
good
house
time.
And have a good time. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that does it for us for this weekend. And last thing I have to say is Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
If you would like to share your comments or let us know what you think about the episode, please email us at whawelikeinc@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at What We Like.
Make sure that you guys are doing what you like this week,
because we'll definitely be doing what we like. Bye.
Bye.